What makes a great startup CEO? Well, there's a list of 10 items that I believe separates the good startup CEOs from the great startup CEOs. And in today's video, we're going to go over the first 5 of those. In next week's video, I'll go over the second 5 on the list. Hi, I'm Brett Fox, and I've built several businesses from zero or next to zero to over $100 million in revenue. I know what works when it comes to building companies, and I know what doesn't work when it comes to building companies. So let's get started. Let's go over that list of the first 5 things that separate the good CEOs from the great CEOs. And let's talk about them. Number 1 on my list is execution. Let's cut right to it. I have a good friend of mine, his name is Yuval, and if you ever look him up, I think on just about every profile he has, it says, "I get shit done." That's what separates the good CEOs from the great CEOs. There's no other way to cut it. They just get stuff done. And that's what you need to do too. If you want to be a great CEO, you've got to execute. One of the best compliments I ever got in my career was from one of my investors when he looked at me and I told him after I had just fired one of my co-founders how tough it was and what a tough guy my co-founder was. He said, no. He's not a tough guy. You're a tough guy. You know why you're a tough guy? Because you get shit done. That's what separates the good CEOs from the great CEOs. And you want to be great, you get shit done. Number 2 on the list is you learn from your mistakes. Let's be honest, all of us are going to make mistakes. It's just part of life, it's part of business. And there are 2 keys when you make mistakes. The first is you've got to learn from them. If you don't learn, then you're doomed to repeat the mistakes. And what good is that? The second thing is you don't want to have any company killer mistakes. So when you make mistakes, try and reduce your risk. Always be reducing risk, always. Don't swing for the fences unless you absolutely have to. Reduce risk always, even if you're coming up with a killer product, a crazy idea, it doesn't matter what it is. Try and limit the mistakes and limit the cost of your mistakes. Number 3 on my list of what separates the great CEOs from the good CEOs. Number 3 is great CEOs are not afraid to get their fingernails really dirty and dig in and find out what's going on. It's totally different than if you come from the corporate world to come to a startup. You actually have to do work. You don't have minions. You don't have people at your beck and call. You've got to be unafraid to dig in and figure out what's going on. I'll give you a great example of this. I'm working with a CEO right now that is having all sorts of issues in his sales organization. He just had to fire his VP of sales. They're well over $1 million in ARR, but he knows that for them to get to 10x that, which is where he's going, he's got to dig in. He has to run sales again. That's what you do. You dig in, you figure it out. You're unafraid, even if you're not a natural in that area. That's what separates the great CEOs from the good CEOs. Number 4 on my list of what separates the great CEOs from the good CEOs. And that is great CEOs are excellent communicators. They can communicate concisely what's going on with their business. What do they do? Have you ever met with somebody and you ask them, well, what does your company do? And they can't really answer you quickly or succinctly what they're up to, why they're going to win, how they're better than their competition. If you can't do that quickly and succinctly with your business, then you're in trouble, because guess what's going to happen? Here are the problems you're going to have, and there are 3 biggies. Number 1, it's going to be very difficult for you to attract investors. Why is an investor going to want to work with you if you can't explain exactly what your company does and you can't communicate your vision? And while we're on it, number 2, what about customers? Why is a customer going to buy from you? Unless you can explain what you're doing and why you're better than the alternative, the competition. And number 3, how are you going to attract great team members to your company unless you can explain exactly what you do, why you're better than everybody else out there. Why are the best going to want to join you? And the answer is they won't. That's where communication comes in. That's why you need to master the art of communication and understand how to crisply, cleanly, and succinctly communicate your vision to your audience, regardless of who it is, because you're always selling when you're a startup CEO. Number 5 on my list, if you want to be a great CEO, is hiring a great team. So what does this involve? There's several things. The first part is, let's say you already have a team and you don't have the right team members. You got to get the right people on the bus, you got to get the right people off the bus, and you've got to get them in the right seats on the bus. That's part of it, is figuring out where people go, who are the keepers, who are the people that need to go. Then, as you're hiring your team, what are you looking for? What do these people have? What's the criterion? How do they add to your culture, not detract from your culture? So let me submit to you the things you want in great team members, regardless of what you're hiring. Number 1, integrity. Need we go any further than integrity? Without integrity, what do you have? I don't care how smart the person is. I don't care how brilliant they are. I don't care how many patents they have, how many deals they've closed. If they don't have integrity, forget it. They're not going to be able to help you. Number 2, you want people that are passionate about your company. Ideally, you want people that are fanatical about your company and what you're doing, but I'll settle for passion in most places. Passion, fanaticism. You want people that live and bleed your idea, your vision, and are going to fight regardless of the odds, to build your company, because the odds are stacked against you. So you want people that really believe this is truly critical when you're building a great team. Number 3 on my list, smart. You want people that are smart, the best of the best in their respective disciplines. I don't think I have to say any more than that. That's what you're looking for. Ideally, you want people that are smarter than you in their respective discipline. Look for that. Then finally, number 4, you want team members that fit your company culture. You want people that are going to add to the culture, like I was saying earlier, not detract from it. You don't want clones, but they should share your core values. If they don't, and you hire a bunch of mercenaries instead, people that are brilliant but don't fit the culture, they're not going to be committed in the way that you want. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for people that are really committed to your cause, believe in what you're doing, and fit the ideals and the things that you want, which should start again with integrity. So look for people that fit the cultural values that you want as you're building your team. So if you get these things right, you're going to have a great team. All right, so now we've wrapped up numbers 1 through 5 on my list of what it takes to be a great startup CEO. Tune in next week, and I'm going to show you numbers 6 through 10 on my list. I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. I've enjoyed speaking with you today. Thank you very much.